touches every aspect of functioning and health. On a night where you're not sleeping well, you wake up the next day, you feel groggy, your head's a little bit foggy. We know research tells us that you're not able to form memories as well, which means for kids, you're not learning information as clearly. You're a little bit moodier, a little bit testier. And so it really touches almost every aspect of functioning that you can think of. So in our research, we've looked at multiple ways in which racism impacts sleep. We've looked at environmental neighborhood conditions. So for example, we have one paper where we're looking at high school students here in New York, and they wear a sleep watch for 2 weeks. So we track their sleep patterns over time. And so what we did was we also looked at the crime patterns in these neighborhoods. And we looked at days on which adolescents were experiencing elevated violent crimes, so more than one violent crime in their neighborhood, and then we tracked that to the sleep data that was being collected on their watch. And what we found was that on days when teenagers were experiencing more than one violent crime in their neighborhood, we saw disturbances in their sleep that same evening. And so what it suggests is that neighborhood conditions such as crime rates have a direct one-to-one correlation with how well kids are sleeping, and may in fact explain, at least in part, some of the disparities that we're seeing in sleep. One of the, I think, most moving things for me in terms of this research is that we see disparities in sleep from infancy to older adulthood. So even in 6-month-old children, we see disparities in sleep, where white kids are sleeping, more than 12 hours, a majority of them, whereas only 6% of black children are sleeping more than 12 hours. We see actually really interesting data with our teenage students that on days where teenagers are not sleeping as well or as much, we see next day impact on mental health. So elevated rates of anxiety, elevated rates of sleepiness, depressive mood, and certainly over time, it's been linked to compromised academic outcomes. There is a lot we can do. So there are certainly structural, institutional level issues that we could consider to address. Neighborhood conditions are one thing. Some of the other research that we've done has looked at school start times and the impact of school start times on, child outcomes. And there's been a big push in this country to delay school start times to about 8:30. I think there's a lot to be done at a policy level, at an institution level, for us to think about how to, mitigate some of these disparities that we've seen.